It is November 13th. It is a Thursday, and you are watching and listening to the Digital Bench podcast slash Wowcast slash. This is what we're doing this week. I am your host, Joe, and I am joined by special guest, Rob.
Oh, hi.
Will is here, too.
I am.
There is a gym.
Hello.
And I believe that is going to be it. As far as attendance, people wanted to be here, but they got caught up.
Happens.
Not really a whole lot going on this week as far as new releases. I guess we can get the news out of the way. As you can see, the World of Warcraft expansion launched, Warlords of Draenor, and Jim and I are taking it in. The sweet, sweet World of Warcraft heroin is flowing through our veins again.
Just mean
Gotta find those veins.
It's too good. So that's, I think, what Jim and I are going to be doing for the next couple months.
Forever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like, goodbye. I'm not gonna shower anymore. I'm not gonna see anybody.
I skipped breakfast and forgot to let the dog out this morning. So that's
Already off to a good start.
Yeah, this is great. This is not going to affect my life at all. Rob, you haven't been here for a while, buddy.
That's true.
Life gets in the way.
Yeah,
We're always
most
here,
definitely.
though. We're always here for you whenever you want to come by.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Tell me what has been going
Glad I
on.
could
What
drop
have
in.
you been playing?
What's
been cracking?
Well, over the past 2 weeks, I've been revisiting Saints Row the Third, and that's been a damn hoot. That game is actually a lot better than I remembered it being, and I'm saying that as someone who absolutely loved it the first time through. I think that first half that I complained about back in the day, that a lot of people complain about, where it was still introducing you to all the, activities on the side. It actually goes by a lot more quickly than I remember. So that's nice. It's always nice to go back to a game and find out you actually enjoyed it even more than you thought you did. Past that, I've been doing a fair amount of mobile gaming because I'm on a train 2 hours a day at least. Been playing Two Dots, which is an interesting little sort of quirky connect the dot kind of game that's more interesting than it sounds. It's got a really neat little art style, very minimalist, but also it has a personality. Tough to describe beyond just straight up connect the dots, but I mean it's free, so
Hey.
head out there and check it out. Yeah.
Cool. I like
Yeah,
the
if your game's free on the App Store, I'll check it out no matter what.
Yeah, what do you got to lose?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
And-
A little time wasted, big deal.
right. Yeah, I don't mind that at all. God, what else? I haven't been playing a whole hell of a lot, really. It's been mostly a time crunch. Same reason I haven't been able to get on the cast too much.
If I can hear
But I mean, I've been keeping up with the news. I've been watching, as much as possible in terms of reviews and quick looks and stuff like that. So, I mean, I'm still up on the game, and I'm looking forward to upcoming releases. It's just a matter of finding the time to fit them in. I think I might, sometime in the next couple days, go back to Far Cry 3 a bit, get sort of immersed back in that world and prepared for, yeah, basically, run away from some cassowaries. And I might get prepped to jump back into that kind of world for Far Cry 4 this week. But yeah, not a whole lot to report.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah.
Will.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was exciting shit, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, it was riveting. Riveting.
I'm happy to hear you're playing games,
I'm back, guys. Not doing shit. No.
Wow, fucking
Oh,
really?
I know,
yeah.
That's how
that
it
is
is.
exactly right, actually.
That's my everyday.
Whoa, that just lagged me back really far.
Can I just say, we talked a very, very little bit about WoW, and I guess maybe we'll get back to it later. But I mentioned it earlier to you guys, but it is incredible to me, and I think the real story to me is that 10 years out, we heard an awful lot of talk about the 10-year plan with Destiny, but 10 years out, Blizzard has got people not only excited, but excited to the point of fucking up the servers
Yeah.
with a WoW
Oh, yeah.
expansion.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if you are
Game's been
not
out a
a
decade.
WoW player, if you are not someone that follows the news and makes a point to seek out information about the game, it must absolutely blow your mind.
It does, absolutely, and that is me to a T. I don't care about WoW. I don't have any desire to play WoW. It doesn't really interest me all that much. But just from an objective point of view, it's fascinating to me, and a total testament to how good Blizzard is. That game is still getting the attention it gets, still has the fan base it has, and can still, bring them forth with an expansion, and an expansion of that quality too. Like, you've got to figure there's got to be people there who have been working on World of Warcraft from the very beginning, and
Yeah, there's several, actually.
And to bring that sort of enthusiasm forward with another expansion is incredible. And I mean, they do great things over there. That's kind of all they do, is just hit home runs.
Everything they touch, and that's what Kwong and I were going to touch on is, I am an unapologetic WoW Blizzard fanboy at this point, and they can do no wrong.
Yeah.
In my eyes, they just everything they touch is gold for me.
Yeah.
Even at their worst, it's still better than almost every other company.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and when they do fuck up, they're going to fix it. They're going to go out
when
there.
When they fuck up, they say, "Hey, we fucked up. We'll make it right. Don't worry about it."
They post about it on Twitter, and they're like, "Oh, sorry, like we're working on it."
Yeah.
They were like apologetic about this.
7 million people are trying to log into a game all at one time. It's crazy.
I'm not seeing. Are there enemies down here that I'm just not seeing?
I think you probably have the same issues that everybody else is having right now.
Very possible. Hey, baby. Hi. Yeah, Daddy's playing a little WoW and streaming. Hi. I like your hood. Yeah. I love the hood on her jacket. Hi. Do you hear that, guys? That's why I never have a bad day. I don't have bad days anymore. There's no such thing.
I don't blame you.
Hi. Do you want to come up? You see the dog?
The puppy Dage.
Oh, sorry for the break in the casting. Jim, tell me about your week. Tell me about your WoW experience so far.
Well, my WoW experience so far was I played for a couple hours. Yeah, maybe 2 hours. And then I'm currently stuck in an animation that looks like I'm juggling balls.
Are you?
Are you in fact doing that thing?
I mean, I am in fact juggling holy balls of light. I am a paladin.
Balls.
Even with the lag spikes and whatever this shit that's happening now everything's so pretty.
It makes you forget.
Blizzard's art direction is incredible.
Impeccable.
I mean, you can just look at what they do with their cinematics. Look at that fucking Overwatch cinematic.
Yeah.
At first I thought maybe they kidnapped some Pixar people and.
Well, no saying that they didn't.
Right. Cannot confirm or deny.
It's very possible that they did.
Yeah.
WoW has pulled me in again. Not necessarily the happiest about that, but
It's not necessarily a good thing.
no. I think my game might be working again.
Oh, they cut the top of that guy's head off.
Send word to the rest of the pack.
Oddly violent for Blizzard King.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's.
He probably had it coming.
I would say so.
If it happened to him in a Blizzard game, he had to have done some shit.
Yeah. Have we touched on everyone with?
I interrupted the hell out of Will when
No,
we were about
I
to-
hadn't even said anything yet.
Will, go.
Okay, I played Advanced Warfare on the PC.
Tell me
the
about your
platform.
single-player experience, because we know the multiplayer was broken.
Yeah, multiplayer's broke as fuck, so I didn't touch it.
Yeah.
Just
single
the
player?
like matchmaking type of thing, or is it like a game flaw?
It's, let me put it this way: there are no dedicated servers, and
Okay,
the
well,
max
that's
ping
good.
by default. Yes, the max ping by default for your matchmaking is set to 800
Yeah,
milliseconds.
No.
That's nearly a full second of lag,
Yeah,
which is why.
That's-
Yeah.
It's not-
Well, you could. You have to shoot well ahead of where you think they will be which doesn't
You
work
gotta-
when everybody's like,
Just find a
This is like-
corner, stand there, and continue to empty your gun into it.
just
You
hold
gotta
the
lead
button
your
down.
target. You lead your target like you're a sniper from 3 miles away. That doesn't really
Yes.
work. And like,
No, it doesn't work when you're like 5 feet away and you're also
Yeah, that's not
attached to a
quite-
rocket pack. So, I mean, the speed of movement in this game, at least in the multiplayer, is such that you basically are playing Unreal. And when you're dealing with ping times that high, and there's no way to get around that, really. I mean, you can try, but it's not good.
that said, I do love the idea of a bunch of people zipping around on jetpacks with full second lag.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah, my only regret with that is that you can't hurt yourself with the landscape, so there's that added level of hilarity that we just don't have, where people are just rocketing into walls that weren't there a second ago because, lag.
Okay, dog got a sock.
Oh, all right, you got the sock back from the dog.
This time, yeah. So I didn't
This
have
time.
to
Yeah, the other time you
dump
may
hydrogen
have to.
peroxide down his throat until he vomits it out.
Worst part is he likes it. Yeah,
Go on.
but that's all right. Single player. It straight up has a Crisis level. It straight up has a Battlefield level, and they just feel like cheap versions of those. Like, all right, Jim, I know that you probably haven't gotten a chance to play any further in the game, and I don't think you're going to since you got that wall.
Well, at this
Done
rate, that
now.
might be what I might have want to play tonight. So.
Yeah, well, there you go. So, without spoiling anything, there's basically a Crisis level that feels like an indie knockoff of Crisis,
Okay.
which is really weird because it's honestly not terrible, but it's also not good. But it's also probably from the all right, the first third of the game is basically it's like, all right, well, it's Call of Duty. Okay, first of all, this is like a Call of Duty as fuck Call of Duty game. You're never gonna be mistaken about what game you're playing.
Oh, even doing the couple missions that I've done is. Oh, right. This is definitely
Yeah.
Call of Duty. Even though
Yeah,
I have
exactly.
a suit, I can double jump. This is absolutely Call of Duty.
Yep, double jump in this one direction, directly to the next
Every
cutscene.
person on my screen has a name when I mouse over them. I have
Yep.
a little yellow dot to follow that says
Yep.
follow under it. It's Call of Duty.
And they still do that thing where you'll watch like one of your major NPCs like take a bullet to the face and they fall over. You're like, oh god, they're dead, and then they just get up like, wow, that really sucked. I'm okay, it's fine. You're just like, all right, yeah, this is definitely Call of Duty. Why can't I do that? Why don't I have plot armor?
I have to restart from the checkpoint now. Cool.
Yeah, exactly right.
Is there an oh shit moment in this game? Because I feel like every Call of Duty game has that one
Every
moment.
Call of-
Like ever
and this
since
one-
I think ever since the nuke, they've
Yeah,
tried
this one
to-
has a couple. I won't say what they are. You can probably guess at what they are, considering they have digital Kevin Spacey. But it's like the first third of the game, Call of Duty. Second third, actually kind of interesting. Like you can see where they were going with the idea, the new technologies that they're introducing, like some real verticality in the maps, which is actually really cool. The final third is basically just like straight up Call of Duty bullshit, where it's just like, okay, everything is a bullet sponge now. There are 30,000 of them, all shooting at me specifically, just me, nobody else. And then the ending is kind of like, all right, I'm not that satisfied. It's like Michael Bay without the payoff. But it's that middle third, which I thought was just kind of criminal, because if these guys weren't, I get the sense that this was kind of a secondary, well, like a middle step towards a full-out, here is our studio's take on the series. Because basically they took all the new technologies, the new movement systems, the new weapons, and they didn't really run with them. Like, you never really have reason to use your boost dodges and stuff like that outside of that second third of the game. You have no real reason to use the new grenades apart from like the threat detector grenade. And actually the whole toggling system gets to be a real hindrance in the game itself in single player. In multiplayer, I couldn't even imagine using anything except like the lethal grenades, because you're not going to sit there and just kind of slowly toggle through each one when everybody else is moving around you at 60 miles an hour.
So they
Real
like
pretty.
started flying close to the sun, and then they decided, no, let's pull it back in and do what we know.
Kind of. It's like, it just feels more like timidity than anything. It's just they could have really gone with it, and they would have done a good job. But it just feels like at some point somebody's like, you know what? People aren't going to be on board with this, or we don't know if they are. So we should just kind of play it safe and just make sure that if somebody wants to play through the game just like they played through every other Call of Duty, they can absolutely do that. and you can absolutely play through a majority of this single-player campaign just like the previous Call of Duties before. You don't even have to do the boost dodge stuff outside of like when they tell you to do it, you know,
Doesn't seem
which
like
is kind of a
anything wrong
sign.
with that.
Yeah, that's the thing.
No, I mean that seems okay, and you don't want to. I mean, you don't want to completely alienate the fan base that's gotten you to where you are.
Oh,
With a
absolutely.
totally different style of play.
Yeah, that's the thing. I can totally understand why they did it, but I think that if they're allowed to continue this universe like they did, like the other, I forget who did Black Ops 2. I think it was Treyarch. If they're allowed to continue that universe with another game, I think that one's actually going to be the really fun one, the one that actually embraces all the new systems and really kind of goes nuts with it. Apart from that, though, I mean, it's like the game it looks great. For some reason, it defaulted to the lowest possible video settings when I first ran it, so I was like, this is fucking broken, and it wasn't. I just had to go in and configure everything properly. There are some bugs. Like, the crouch button doesn't work, and
It seems like a bug.
yeah, that was kind of a bug. Like when they go through the whole tutorial thing, they're like, press unbound to crouch. I'm like, what the fuck is unbound? I was like, I go in the menu. Oh right, yeah, okay. The hold to crouch button is unbound. I have it on toggle. I set it to everything up. I'm like, okay. And then later in the game, you actually have QTEs that are based on your crouch button, but it's the wrong
great.
crouch button. So if you unbroke your crouch button, you can't beat the game. So you got to break your crouch button again.
Well,
Yeah. So
Beautiful.
hopefully they patch that. They might have already. I don't know. And the cutscenes, like both the pre-rendered cutscenes and the in-game non-controlled cutscenes, really nice. Like the facial capture, the motion capture were done alarmingly well. Like digital
Kevin
Spacey.
Spacey looks amazing.
Yeah, he looks like
there's some
Kevin
uncanny
Spacey.
valley shit going on in
There
the
seriously
mission
is, like,
cutscenes.
There are, and even in the in-game cutscenes where they take control away from you, the models look great. I mean, they got like details like wrinkles around the eyes and stuff like that that actually animate properly. When you're given control again, not so much. Like Jim, you saw that with going into the lab to get your arm fixed, and the dude's like flapping his mouth like a duck. And
I don't
yeah.
think I was watching a really bad martial arts movie.
And that's basically what it's like. And it's kind of disheartening because you realize at that point the animation tech used for the in-game cutscenes has not advanced past like Call of Duty 2. Like, it's the exact same thing where they're
Texans
looking
may
nowhere.
look mighty nice, but
Yeah, it's just the animations, they never bothered. Like, they're just looking somewhere in the room, not at you. Their mouth is flapping with some language that probably no human speaks. And then the voiceover ends before their mouth does. And then it's just, wow, this is 2014, and this is what's still happening. And it's just such a far cry from the pre-rendered stuff and even the in-game stuff. That it's just kind of weird. Like, they're just like weird technical hiccups like that just kind of stand in
Take you out of
defiance
it.
of where we are right now in terms of technology, and especially with the effort put into the actual cutscenes and everything else.
I
Then
feel
of
like
course,
animation has been the sticking point for a long time. Like I feel
Yeah.
like if you see something like, let's go back to Far Cry 3, like, obviously those characters don't have anywhere near the same fidelity as the characters in Advanced Warfare.
well, no.
But they look really, really solid, and the only thing that'll take me out of watching those characters and be like, wow, that guy's really solidly done, is seeing the animation hiccups. And
Yeah.
it's been those same animation hiccups and those same little hitches and issues for a very long time, and I feel like that's more so than graphics. I feel like that's what's really sticking between, like, what we kind of envision next gen being,
Yeah.
and what we've got right now.
Yeah, I agree entirely. And it's because, textures are easy, shaders are easy.
Yeah, animation's a bitch. Like,
Animation
it's
is fucking
a totally
hard.
different ball game, and it is
really is.
difficult as hell.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It requires a lot of effort that, where most of the budget goes to are the animators, the rigging, that kind of stuff. And that's where you need the most talent, because when you have a good resource and everything's set up properly, it means nothing if it's animated like shit,
Yeah.
And that's why it just blows my mind that they're fine everywhere except in these very small instances that could have been fixed and weren't. And it's been like that for, like a decade. And there's no reason for it, as far as I'm aware, unless they just kind of farm it out to the college intern that decided to spend some time with 3Ds or like 3D Max or Maya or something. Just like, I could do this, and then they just don't do it.
Complete with voice crack.
Exactly right.
I got it, guys.
I got it. And
I got a copy of Poser.
yeah, I got it. I'm gonna go back to making porn comics, I guess. I don't know, but it's just
I'm more familiar with Bryce. Can we get that?
no, we can't.
I know what that is. I understand that reference.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
I feel.
But in terms of like putting aside the technical stuff, putting aside how the graphics are great, except for like small instances of animation.
I'm sorry, Riley. Riley just came in dragging her carrier with her in leopard print pajamas, like a onesie.
Oh,
What's up,
man.
Daddy?
What's Daddy
How
doing?
you doing, Dad? Hey, Dad.
You say
Oh,
Dada?
God. Dada? Right. I hope the multi works. That's the thing. It's like, Jim, if you ever manage to pull yourself away from WAD, we should try that co-op stuff so that way, because I don't know if that's affected by the same problem. It probably is.
Yeah, we should try to do it sometime this weekend.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, actually, this weekend will probably be all right. Probably Sunday or something. I don't
They'll get the
know
multiplayer
if I.
figured out. I mean,
What's that?
They'll get the multiplayer figured out.
Well, that's what I was
Someday.
saying the other day. Everybody was shitting on Battlefield 4 when it came out, and now it's one of the better
Yeah.
games that I have.
Yeah, exactly right.
That's,
I mean,
that's
Yeah,
exactly what I was
absolutely.
going to say. Like,
It-
Battlefield 4 was a disaster for the longest time. And
Yeah,
it's
but
just fine.
denying
So they'll
that
get
they
it.
got on it. They did, and I mean, it did take like a year, but fine.
got
It's
there.
just like, yeah, it did. And then, honestly, with Call of Duty, it's like pay now, pay later. It's not going to drop in price very quickly. They never do. And you pay $60 now, and then just kind of play the single player, and then deal with the lag or the multi with only your friends in co-op or something. Hopefully,
What's crazy to me is that a game comes out in 2014 and doesn't have dedicated servers, even though they did publicly state that the game would have dedicated
Yeah.
servers, and it
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
much does not. And I'm not trying to come off like one of those people, but I mean they did. They
I mean,
kinda
if you're going to
say
say it's going to
it-
do
they said-
something, let
you
it do
should
something.
do what you say you're gonna do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Absolutely.
don't act surprised when people are upset because they were kind of misled. I mean,
yeah.
I was
And
all
people deserve
about
to be
buying
upset about that kind of
yeah,
thing.
that is a legitimate.
There are a lot of
complaint.
things people don't deserve to be upset about. That is one of the things that they can be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and it might be a case of like the left hand not knowing what the right hand is doing, where they have like one guy's just oh yeah, and then the actual,
Right, yeah.
like,
no, I think
no,
that is the
no.
that is the very likely thing.
yeah, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is, and I'm sure that they will fix it eventually. But again, pay now, pay later. Have fun with the single player. I don't know if I did. I mean, at the end of it, I felt like I was just playing just to finish it.
I think
But
that's
there
what
are
most
some-
people do. Will.
Yeah, honestly.
I
it's
bought
just
it.
like,
I may as well fucking get the achievements.
fucking- yeah, I'll get my money's worth out of it, I guess. I don't know, squeeze like blood from a stone. But there were highlights in that campaign that really are worth going back to. And of course, there's a fucking Intel collection where there are like 43 laptops throughout that entire thing, and I found like 4 while I was rushing through. And I guarantee you, like half of them are probably in that fucking Crisis Light level. It's gonna be there. It's just like, well, here's your stealth level. Guess what? Here also are all the collectibles. Have fun. Fuck you. And yeah, it's just. I will say that like after playing through the Battlefield levels, I just wanted to play more Battlefield. So I guess it did its job. I'm not really sure.
Hey man, we got the expansion coming out soon. Final Stand.
Yeah, we
is gonna
do.
be crazy,
Railguns, what?
and I can't wait to play it because every time I touch that game, I have a great time.
Yeah,
Every
that's the
single
thing.
time I play it.
Even if I am getting my ass kicked, I'm
No,
still
that's
having
the
fun.
typical Battlefield. There is
Yeah.
no.
You're going to die. You're going to die a
There's
lot.
no push pull. It's a steamroll. You're either on one end of the steamroll or the other.
Yeah, that's all it is.
If you can
And,
accept
I mean-
that, you're gonna have
Yeah.
a good time.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You have to absurd that Battlefield is mostly bullshit,
Yeah.
and it's fun. And Call of Duty, I mean, that's the thing. Like, its multi is precise. It's basically Quake with guns and
Yeah.
now dashing, so it's Unreal Tournament. I mean, hell, we saw the video where the dude was like fucking bunny hopping.
Yeah.
down the
which
street,
is crazy
you know?
to me that Call of Duty still is very much the Quake 3 engine, but
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean,
I'm
it shows.
surprised
Like,
that they have retained that part of the physics.
I wonder if it was
I don't know
like
if that
dormant
was-
and they just kind of restored it because I don't remember people bunny hopping in
No.
like previous versions,
Maybe it was unintentional. That's the
Yeah,
only
maybe
thing
it
I
was.
can really come up with.
which is fine. I just hope they don't patch it out because I mean, if they keep that in there, because like some dude's like, hey man, we got jump boosting, we have like strafe dodging now. Maybe we could, I don't know, just run with it. Hold on. And so maybe they do. I don't know. But
Maybe.
I would say right now, probably not worth your $60.
I don't know what the
But
fuck that just did.
yep, if you know,
I mean, even
down
if
the
you
road,
do pay the $60 for it though, like now, and you're looking forward to the multiplayer, and you're not getting that experience
it's
right
an
now,
investment,
like
basically.
yeah, the game's not going to degrade
Yeah.
in quality over
I
time.
will say-
like once they
well, no.
get shit figured out, it's still going to be a fun game. It's
It
just,
will.
You know, you
But
might have
here's
to
the
wait a
thing.
bit.
If you're going in for like a single player shooter with a story,
Yeah, you can
Nah.
do much better.
you can do much better. You're
Far Cry's
gonna be
coming out
better
soon.
served.
Like,
Yeah,
play
Far
that.
Cry
Yeah,
is gonna
Far
be
Cry's
your-
coming out in like 3 days. Go just
Yeah,
deal with
exactly
that.
right.
Oh,
See,
it's
that's the
you,
thing.
Jim. What the fuck are you doing to me? I'm like, what is this guy doing to me?
What is going on? Oh,
I really got to put a door on this room because I say the F word a lot, and my kids are out there, and I'm being a bad dad right now.
yabby, fuck.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, babe. Yeah, for those that don't know, we're gonna have a little kid chat in this video game podcast, videocast, whatever we're doing right now.
Video
Um,
vidcast.
My daughter has now learned the word yabby. I am not entirely sure what that is, but she now whispers it. So it's really creepy because over the baby monitor when
That's-
she wakes up from her naps, I hear yabby, yabby, yabby. And it's like I'm in hell. Like I'm dead.
Some
That's-
Indiana
that's
Jones
the
shit.
ghost that has befriended your daughter.
You know what?
Kalima.
I think that maybe she's doing.
Can
Think
I
about
loot
it.
you?
Just
Why can't I loot you?
say Biob over and over again.
We didn't tag it.
She's a yobber.
That's what it is. I'm telling you.
That's the only story I have. Seriously,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like the most boring person on the podcast for the next month, 2 or
So my
7.
kid did a thing.
Yeah, Riley said a word,
yes.
and I'm still playing WoW. So
Well,
that's cool.
Turn around.
that's
how my
fine.
kid was-
That's fine. These things happen.
Like I'm not going to buy Far Cry 4. Not that I think it's a bad game. I simply don't desire a first-person shooter right now.
And
Like,
I
I
mean,
don't desire
honestly,
another one. I'm good. I will buy it eventually,
Oh yeah.
just not right now. I'm
No,
good.
I mean, I already know that I'm gonna buy Far Cry 4 at some point. Like, my budget for the month was either do I buy Far Cry 4, well, do I pay for Far Cry 4 now, or do I buy, Advanced Warfare now? And I was looking at a sick day where I had nothing to do and really wanted to play a shooter I hadn't played yet. So I'm like, Advanced Warfare. Kind of wish I had bought Far Cry 4 instead, but that's a decision I've made. I'll stay with it. Of course, after this whole Assassin's Creed Unity thing, maybe you should wait a day or two.
Maybe.
Just
Yeah.
Just to see what's-
I very much want to play that game, but I'm definitely not picking it up until at least a few days after it comes out.
That is probably a smart decision.
Yeah. That
And again, like, look, the Far Cry 3 port was fantastic. Like, the
Oh, yeah,
PC
yeah.
version of Far Cry 3 was by far the best version. I had no problems with it. It worked just fine straight out of the box. So I have faith that Far Cry 4 is going to not exhibit any of the same problems that Unity exhibited.
It's a good
Yeah.
engine.
it is.
Far Cry
Yeah.
engine. Like it scales well. The PC ports are generally, pretty solid. I mean, it's kind of hard to mess up, but
Yeah.
it is Ubisoft, and you do have to keep that in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
At all times.
Right.
Especially with the size of the clusterfuck that Unity ended up being.
Yeah, it was not.
It's hard to ignore.
Yeah, that's it was not good. That's I wonder if they're actually, well, I mean, I know they're going to, but how quickly will they actually address the technical issues that particular port has encountered? Yeah,
Have they made a public statement about it? Like,
I don't recall seeing one.
other
So-
than I think I recall reading, yeah, we know, we
We
fucking
know. Yeah. Yeah. We
Yeah,
know.
I
Get
mean,
it.
there's no way that game got out the door with them thinking it was perfectly fine. Like,
Right.
there's absolutely no way any team looked at that and said, "Oh yeah, we're good. Don't worry about it. We're not
Fine.
even
Put
going
our
to
name
start
on
a
that.
patch."
Yeah. Associate us with that. That's a great product. Nah, son. That's
Yeah, it's bad, and it's you can almost assuredly call it the time crunch.
Sure, I think
Because
a
now
lot of
they're
people
trying to
forget
make
that.
this a yearly thing, and that's difficult to say the least.
I wonder if that's
it's
a
not
mistake.
all the same people
It
working
is
on
absolutely a mistake. It's
It's
such a piss poor
always
idea.
a mistake.
to do
There's
that.
one
But, dude,
game that
they
should be
don't think-
yearly, and it's sports.
Dude, developers know that, though. It's not up to the developers. It's the publishers that push it out the door. They're the ones that want that ROI,
Oh, yeah,
and
absolutely.
that's
Oh,
the
yeah.
only way you get it. That's why you and I are talking about we're still going to do this as a side cast, Rob and I, but, the multiplayer versus single player and what is really the safe bet and, where we think it's going to end up in the end. And I know there's a market for single player games. I'm not saying that there isn't, but right now, the way gaming is trending, I just don't. I don't
Well,
think I'm going to
there's-
see a lot of those.
No,
Well,
you're
probably
not.
not.
But because there's a market for single player shooters. There absolutely is, but that market doesn't really support huge AAA titles all that well. So you'll get your Far Cry and you'll get your BioShock every once in a while, but by and large, it's going to be multiplayer experiences that they can keep bringing people in with, because you don't, with how much games cost now. Because remember, I mean, games, and this argument gets dragged out a lot when people bitch about both sides of the aisle, but I mean, games still cost $60. And they've cost that for a long time. And if you want to go by inflation, they should probably cost closer to $80, $90.
yeah.
But you're never going to be able to charge $80, $90. Well, I don't want to say never, but you're not going to be able to charge $80, $90 for a game in this environment or any foreseeable environment.
No.
And they're costing more and more and more to make. We're talking about tens of millions of dollars to make some of these games. So, like, you're not going to get that money back with a single player shooter. You're just not. So you need to start creating ways to make sure that more money's going to be coming in down the line. From big houses that have the money to invest in a AAA single player shooter, sure, but they're going to take a bit of a bath with it unless it's a real massive hit, but they can afford to.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's absolutely a market for, like, I mean, if you want to get technical about it, Portal, like, that's a first person kind of thing, and it's more puzzle than shooter.
It's also a Valve game.
Yeah, but there are single player experiences out there for you.
I just think it's an
single-player shooter
incredible risk,
experience.
and I think Telltale has proven that the market is absolutely there, and it's okay for studios to take a risk.
Yeah.
Well, that's single player games in general. I think single player games in general aren't going anywhere.
Oh no. No.
They're
Fuck you,
as long as we have shut-ins who enjoy video games, we
Yeah.
are going to have single player experiences, and that market's never really going to dry up. It's going to be a matter of how much are you willing to invest in that as an idea, because your Call of Duties, your World of Warcrafts, like, yeah, your Destinies.
Well, here's the thing
Those
too.
are games
I mean,
that
it's
are going to sell like.
Hey, I'm sorry to
self-form.
interrupt, but Jim, I made George buy the expansion. He's transferring.
Laugho.
Good.
Well,
Wonderful.
okay, so it's just looking at, again, the way trends are going. I would really like to see more single player stuff, but
Well, here's the thing that we
I
also.
don't know, man.
Are you guys taking into consideration that it's perfectly possible to monetize a single player experience through DLC
Yeah, I mean,
and microtransactions? I mean, it's like,
do you
that's
think that's
really-
well received though?
no. I mean, people aren't going to. I mean, honestly, well, here's the
It's
thing.
going to have no choice but to be well received down the line, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's already
'Cause
happening.
that's the
if you
way
look
it's
at the mobile
going. Like,
market.
we can complain about it, and it is kind of shitty right now. But I mean, that's going to be how it goes, because games aren't going to get cheaper.
Yeah,
Like, games
yeah,
aren't going to get cheaper to make, and these houses aren't going to get smaller. the industry is not going to crash. Like,
And you know what? At one point, we would have all spit at the idea of having to pay for more content for our game. Why aren't we getting the full game when we spend $60 on it? And now we're enticed by the idea of paying for more content for the games that we like. So at some point, I feel like we will push against the idea of microtransactions in single player stuff like that. But who knows? At some point, we might just say, "Oh yeah, microtransactions, single player. That's just what you do, right?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it already
Well, I mean,
seems commonplace.
Yeah.
Well, here's the
Like, I don't mind. I'm not against it at all. Like,
Yeah,
if I like
yeah.
it, I'll buy your shit. Whatever.
Well, I mean, you guys. I mean, I probably talked about this before, but there was I forget which developer it was, but he was exploring like options about monetization and basically how they approach mobile design for their games, and he was listening to his child basically play. I forget whatever mobile game it was, but he and his friend, or she and her friend, I can't remember, were talking about the game in terms of DLC items. Like, where we'd be talking about, like, okay, if you go to, like, the third block and you can get infinite lives by doing this, you're like, okay, so you have to get 3 coins to get this 1 diamond, but then you can mine diamonds by getting more coins, and then he was realizing that they're talking about these games in terms of monetized DLC. Like, this is what's happening now. He got depressed by that, and, you can't really blame him. But yeah, I mean, people are already being raised on these kinds of models. And I mean, when the lead dev of fucking Just Cause 3 is like, hey, microtransactions are the future, we should embrace that. And then, a screen comes up like, microtransactions are a possibility. And then the company comes out like, no, it's not with this game. It's fine. Fine.
they're the future,
gotta
just not quite yet.
Not now. Not at this moment in time. When it's released.
And you know what?
then.
If you do microtransactions right, it's the same with DLC. Like, if you do microtransactions and DLC right, it's nowhere near as offensive as it is when you gouge the player and you
absolutely.
gouge your audience for everything you can get.
Yeah,
Like,
and
there's a reason that people look at going back to Far Cry 3 again. God damn it! There's a reason that people look at something like Blood Dragon as really interesting and solidly put together DLC, and they don't mind that being DLC. But then
Yeah.
you look at something like, say, even with a game I loved, BioShock Infinite, its first DLC, the Battle in the Clouds or whatever the hell it
Clash
was.
of Clouds or
Yeah,
whatever.
it's
Clash
not
of
so
the
good.
Clouds, yeah. It just wasn't all that good. It was an
I don't
attached
buy a
horde
BioShock
mode.
game to play a horde mode.
Yeah,
Like,
and
that's
really
the last thing I mean, don't
Why
get me
would they
wrong,
put that
I
out?
really like the combat in that game, but I liked it
Yeah.
as a way
And
to
you know what?
give
I had a
you
lot
the
of fun with
story.
that DLC, but it was kind of shitty to have to, shell out money and to anticipate that was going to be coming along, like
yeah.
to sit there and say, "Oh man, I can't wait to see what they do with DLC," and then the first thing that comes out is that, and it's kind of a bummer. And
I wonder what that board meeting was like when they sat down and said, well, what are we going to do for DLC for this? Like-
Well, we're gonna
Horde
take
mode.
all this. We're gonna take all these unused assets, and we're gonna shove it on people because they'll buy it. Fuck them.
guys
Fuck
like
you.
shooters, right? Where
the
shooting
problem also
is the
too
strongest part.
and it goes back also to production, where like you can't have it both ways. You can't have a huge, fully dedicated DLC team before you've produced your actual game. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
it doesn't work that way. So it's tough to expect. And I remember the big complaint with the BioShock Infinite DLC was that the delay on it was massive in DLC terms. I mean, it was months upon months before we even heard anything, and then when it finally came out, it was. I mean, episode 1 of the Burial at Sea was only 2 hours long or something like that. You see stuff like that, and you think, man, that really blows. But at the same time, yeah, because they started working on it after the game was released. Like, that's why it took so long, and they still couldn't get a whole lot of content in there.
Right.
And that's a bummer. And that's not. I mean, that's obviously not the case with every single game or every single studio or every single publisher. But there's a certain balance to be had, and I think as DLC becomes more commonplace and as consumers figure out, we're all figuring each other out at this point. Like publishers and developers are figuring out how the fan base, or they're kind of like tuning, trying to figure out like what's too little, what's too much in terms of cost and in terms of length for DLC, and consumers are figuring the same thing out too. Like, what do I want to invest in, or what do I want to kind of hold back from, because what looks like it's going to be shitty and what looks like it's actually going to be worthwhile.
Yeah.
And that balance is going to take a while, because DLC is, it's relatively new, especially to be this, widespread and to be this prevalent in the industry.
Right.
I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like I said,
Yeah, that's
if
about it.
If it's ethical, I'll buy it. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like
And vote for the WoW. Like, if you have a problem with the DLC that's going out there, then don't fucking get the DLC. Like, nobody's forcing it on you. Nobody's pulling money out of your wallet.
True. And that's really like, as long as the content is congruent with the product, like that's really all people ask for. Then if they pay for an adventure game, they're going to want content that kind of expands upon that. If they bought it for the story, they want more story, which is probably why the first DLC for BioShock was just so fucking, like, that was a disappointment. Even I was disappointed. I was just like, it's gorgeous, but shit,
Yeah, I played it, I enjoyed it, but I was like,
yeah, it's just like,
Even so.
this wasn't, it was not a meal, it was like a snack.
Yeah.
And if you paid for the season pass or whatever the fuck, because that's a thing now, it felt kind of gross. But that's really, like, at the end of the day, if it's content that people will actually enjoy, and it's not something that, like the Capcom was doing the scummy thing where they actually have it on disc, you've pretty much already bought it, but then you have to pay to unlock it, and then you're like, well, you already made this content, it was already given to us, why did you do that, and that'll change obviously as things move to digital, where they can just deliver the content as they want to, as they gate it off in terms of money. There's another factor, is just, am I paying for a new addition to the game, or am I paying for a part of the whole product that was either gated off because of money, or otherwise just, obfuscated for whatever reason.
Right.
And that's a fine argument. That's, I'm totally okay with people being angry about that.
I agree. I think that is a very legitimate concern.
Yeah.
Not one that. Not one that I would really. I don't know. I have very specific things that I actually would complain about.
Yeah.
I agree that it's a problem, but not one that would like.
Yeah. It's
It's not something you're likely to get angry about, but you understand why other people.
Really. Yeah, I totally get the complaint and agree with it. But
Yeah.
Right.
there are
And
more important things.
What is
Yeah. It's like, at the end of the day, though, it's like, if it's a decision made by the publisher or the developer that seems to be actively screwing over the customer, in the case of like unlocks through monetization, or that, or just like DLC that's just like fucking shitty and you already paid for it. But that's I certainly see I certainly see room for single player shooters with a story base, but I don't know if I guess, as a fan of Doom, I don't know how well that's going to work anymore, because, like, fast-paced, mowed down a bunch of enemy-type shooters are kind of like the domain of multiplayer now. Co-op is great and everything, but unless they're pumping up...
Serious Sam do?
Serious Sam 3, it was alright.
it's
like,
how did it? What was the reception?
the reception was alright. Yeah, it's just like, it was nowhere near as big a sensation as like the first two Serious Sam games. And I think, personally, I think it was because they decided to do a really long, almost too long joke about the state of modern shooters in the first part of the game, where you like end up with an assault rifle and you're aiming down sights in the middle of like a bombed out Middle Eastern town, and you're like, oh wow, this is
like, I
is
get
this
it.
is this real? Is this Poe's law or something?
It's commentary.
Yeah, it's commentary that's going on
that
for
was
like
kind of
5
the point of
levels.
Serious Sam in general, wasn't it? Like, or the sort of main conceit of Serious Sam was that it was mocking all of the super
the idea was that
serious
it was
shooters of the day. That's what I remember anyway. It's been a fucking long time.
kind of. It was like it was. It took itself not at all seriously, and it was parody only in that. Actually, I can't even say that it really was parody because, like, you had absurd weapons, you had absurd monsters, you had huge open levels and bright colors, and that was kind of the opposite of everything that was happening at the time.
Yeah, so it was less a parody and more of a response.
Yes, yeah, exactly right.
Okay.
Serious Sam 3 was, in a sense, a parody that kind of forgot it was supposed to be a parody for a good third of the game.
It went on for a.
It was a long time.
In my opinion, way too
Yeah.
long.
Yeah, way too long, and I think that hurt it critically. But the rest of the game ended up being okay, you know, and it was kind of soured, I think, by that really elongated joke. And the DLC was also fun. You know, we had good times playing around with that. But will that kind of shooter really succeed these days now? I don't know if it will, at least not without like a constant delivery of really fun content, you know, like map packs and stuff like that, which honestly, like you look at fucking Doom World or something, I mean that, how old is Doom now? Because its birthday is in December, as we know, but
It's pretty old. Yeah.
it's fucking old. It's been around like 93, I want to say, 92. That's still going simply because people keep on delivering content for it, and it's free.
engines
You know?
and it's just
New engine?
unbelievable
Yeah.
the amount of content.
Absolutely, and that's really what sustains it.
That's why we
But
can't stop playing.
Yeah.
exactly right. The question becomes then, as a publisher, how do we make money from that? And that ultimately is what will make or break single-player shooters that aren't based entirely around telling a story. How do we maintain support for this game, interest in this game, interest in the series, through what is, for all intents and purposes, a completely natural and organic progression of, you know, user interest? And is there even really a base for interest like that anymore? Couldn't tell you.
This is really good commentary, and I really wish I wasn't clicking buttons right now.
Yeah.
I think. Can we just talk about Doom for a second? How
Absolutely.
is there no leaked footage?
Yeah, you know what?
I want to see this game.
I really do. Like, after descriptions we saw on Twitter about what was going on in that trailer, I'm like,
People were like openly weeping, and I'm like, I want to. I
Doom
too
is real,
want
it's
the
back!
thing. I want the thing.
I also want the thing, but I guess they just run a real tight ship. Like, they had that thing on lockdown.
I guess. I mean, that's cool.
Yeah, all right.
I'd rather just have what I want when I want it, because
Yeah, you know, it's a whole
Right.
instant gratification thing. Yeah, I want
generation
that
I was
too.
born in.
Yep. Give it now. Mine. Me. Mine.
Only my rights.
Only my rights. Gamer rights. You don't have any. You're a consumer. All right? Just so we're clear.
Me my.
Me, my.
This is how it used to
and
be,
my
though.
gaming rights. What's that?
You would hear. I mean, this is how it used to be. You would hear about crazy ass footage being shown at a con somewhere, and then you would have to wait a good long while before you got to see it.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what?
And that's. I forgot how fucking nerve wracking that could be.
Yeah, yeah. This is like probably for the all the talk of the return to the old Doom. This is like probably the most old school thing that could possibly happen. Like, yeah, it's fucking cool. It's gonna happen, guys. Yo, you should have been there. What are you talking about? I wish I could see it. Why is it on the internet? Where is it? And
And
that hasn't happened since
Yeah.
the internet was like 56K. You know, man. It's gonna be such a good
That means
game.
you had a whole goddamn room of people. I don't know how many people saw this footage, but you had a whole
anybody
goddamn
getting
room.
static?
yeah, that is
Yeah,
not
Rob-
that is
Robot.
not good, Mike. That is
Was that Rob?
yeah,
Whoa.
Whoa, yeah, that's Rob.
definitely.
Are
Did you move
you-
something or put something near your mic or?
No, I didn't.
Do you have anything going on with your network?
Do you,
This is
do
like-
you have a receipt?
Are you a robot?
It's possible.
Oh God, I'm in hell.
Whoa, we're getting echo now.
Oh Jesus Christ, I'm scared.
Freddy got him.
Oh god.
Hey Jim, I got that random Draenor perk, and my shield bounces to two additional enemies now. That's a really cool system.
Neat.
Yeah, it's super useful to me actually.
It's so much better than
Okay,
giving
how is this?
buttons to have to
Oh, that's
press.
better.
perfect.
You're
You
not
sound
over, but
Yeah,
wonderful.
I went back to the headphone. Something
Alright,
went
yeah,
zany with the microphone, so I'm going back to the headset
good
for now.
call.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear whatever the hell that sounded like.
Oh, that was
That was, yo, you're gonna enjoy that. That was like some, that was some Slender Man shit.
Rob,
right
That
there.
was shit, man.
Yeah, that was pretty great. That was pretty great. So before you were
Yes,
pulled into
this
the
is the
black
first time
hole
I've
of
ever
space.
used this microphone for podcasting. So.
Gotcha. So what were you saying?
God, I don't fucking remember.
All right,
went
that
into
was
the
it.
Slender
Remember it was
Zone.
pulled with
He
you?
doesn't
Everything
Yeah.
blacked out, and these hands came
Yeah.
across his face, and it was really
Just
weird.
ASCII code everywhere. Jesus.
Yeah. He sounded like one of
so
those
that means
fucked up
that means
gifs
you
that
had a
people
room.
make.
So you had like a room full of people.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how many saw it. I don't know if it was dozens or hundreds
A
or
large
whatever.
crowd.
There was a lot.
Yeah. And that means not a single fucking one of them had their cell phone out.
Apparently, I mean,
They probably confiscated that shit, you know? And not only
It's
that,
just crazy.
in a weird way, I feel almost as if the people who were present to see that trailer had enough respect for id, or at least the IP at hand, to not try to leak shit that wasn't being asked, you know. to
yeah,
be
I
leaked.
think in the
Yeah,
end,
that's the other
that
thing.
is
That's
really
probably
what it comes down to.
Yeah, and that's kind of cool if you think about it. It's just like, how often does that really happen where somebody's just like, you know what? I like what you're doing, and I trust you with your product. I'm going to go ahead and not give you shit.
Human decency. Wow.
Human decency.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's a strange thing. To me.
Yeah, well,
So
yeah.
used to it not happening.
The state of the world, the state of
It's
things.
sad that we're surprised by common human decency.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly right. Especially in this industry.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do? Well, I don't know. Admire it. You know, praise it.
about
Reward
it on
that kind of
podcasts.
behavior. What?
Talk about it on podcasts.
That's right. That's what, yeah. Podcast. At the digital bench. Come.
God damn it.
You want to try a dungeon? While the boys talk about substance.
Yeah. Hold on.
Not really getting any lag.
Save this monk from fighting it. You're welcome, monk.
They
You're
don't
welcome.
care.
Is he
No
gonna
one
say
will ever
thank you?
care
No.
what you do. You save them.
But
Human shit to them.
I will. I'll know.
It's fair.
Is it though? Yeah, it's fair. Yeah, I'm excited for Doom. I really am. It's just like I don't want story. Like they tried that with when Doom 3 came out. I was actually, well, I mean, technologically it was impressive, but then it was also like giving me real System Shock 2 vibes, which fell apart almost immediately. But the effort was there, and I could admire that at least. And then, of course, they eventually realized that duct tape exists, and then the flashlight thing was solved. This Doom, I don't know if I want story or if I want them to just kind of abandon it entirely, just be like, you're a fucking killing machine, Mars Marine dude with a shotgun and fists, and rip and tear, go nuts, and then,
Yeah.
you know.
That's
The
what I
story
want,
for a
rip and
Doom.
tear.
You should be able to summarize the story for a Doom game in like 2 paragraphs of text that you see like right after you start, and then you never hear anything about again.
Yeah, exactly right.
Like it scrolls by, and then all of a sudden you're shooting shit, and you can just totally forget that it exists.
Well, that's in my head now. All right, well, that's fine. But yeah, I mean, that's you know what? If they do a call out to that, where like in between episodes or whatever, you get that like the reading of the text over a repeated texture, that'd be kind of cool. Like if they gave it the modern Rise of the Triad treatment, but made it good, I'd be on board.
Yeah.
That's not entirely fair.
Well, we are getting a new Doom in the form of Killing Floor 2, which looks
We are.
unbelievable.
Yeah, it does. Oh man, Killing Floor 2 is gonna be good. Gonna be good. Which is funny too, because I mean they're sitting there talking about the damage model, and then you're like, "That's really cool." Oh wait, are these guys serial killers? And then,
Yeah, they do. Like when you talk about it in like an unironic way, you're like, "Wow, you're a sociopath."
yeah, it's like, wow, I really don't want to be around you in a dark area. But hey, you
Or
know
any
what?
area.
or any area.
No
I don't want to
areas.
interact with you. I don't want that, which is fine, you know. And people thought that we had murder simulators when Doom was like the highlight of, you know, technical achievement. That's because people recognize that games are just entertainment now.
Some people.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that Doom. I miss games that just fully embrace absurd fun
Yeah.
and stupid shit. and
Be
then
a
just
video
fun.
game. Be a video-ass video game.
A video
What
game ass
up,
video game.
Saints Row.
Yeah.
Yeah,
same.
that is a very good example.
That's
They're out there doing it right.
Yeah, they really are. And you know what? I have no doubts that Just Cause 3 is probably going to continue that trend.
Yes.
hope so.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm gonna fly so many planes into so many towers, and I'm gonna grapple people to them, and I'm gonna grapple planes to cars and
Gas stations. I want to
Gas
take a gas
stations.
station out. I want to
Yeah.
take it with me as I go out and do my thing.
you want to roll a tanker into a gas station and then get sent into low Earth orbit, from which you'll have to parachute back to Earth.
That's exactly what I want to do. How'd you read my mind?
Because I know, because it's what I want to do too. Yeah.
Destruction bros.
Yeah, collectibles and destruction.
Oh my god.
How many bridges have you destroyed? Only 25% of all the bridges. I wonder how big the map is, actually, now that I
They
think
say
about
it's
it.
really big. That's fine.
Alright, but... Okay, I'll take...
How big is it?
you know-
Really big. Fine.
Okay, great,
Sign me
good.
up.
Compared to what? Compared to the previous Just Cause? Really?
Compared to big. Take big and then make it bigger. That's really
Big.
big. That's the size of the map. Size of the map is really big.
we'll
That's
show
all
you
we're
the
going to
map.
tell you.
The first words out of your mouth will be, "That's really big," and you'll be like, "Oh, all right, that's the size." Okay, I got it.
There was an actual like measurement for it somewhere in that Game Informer article, I believe. I don't remember what it was, but I mean, it seemed large. I mean, the Just Cause 2 map was fucking huge too.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, a little bit for lack of content,
Well,
because
sure.
a lot of it was just kind of procedurally generated, and there wasn't a whole lot to do in large chunks of it. But it was still so much damn fun just getting around
Oh,
that
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, I mean, getting around, and that it really helps that the game is also incredibly pretty.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just vistas like on tops of mountains, and then in valleys, and then the fishing towns. I actually hope that you can go into buildings in the city now. That's kind of thing where it was huge, but like you said, there wasn't a whole lot to do. And beyond that, it felt kind of like the Hollywood town, where it's just a bunch of
Yeah.
facades that are there to kind of not really interact with you or anything.
Yeah, mile wide, inch deep. That's just kind of how it worked.
Yeah, exactly right. The
But it
Skyrim
was-
syndrome.
But there was enough there was enough batshit insanity to really entertain yourself, regardless.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely can understand where that's coming from. I wonder about how well in-game or how well indoor environments would really suit that game, just because so much of it seems geared toward a wide open mass.
Yeah.
You know, specifically like the grapple.
Yeah. Yeah.
As much as I love the idea about going into a crowded restaurant and shooting the grapple across the room and then just watching shit unfurl as you zip across, knocking over tables and chairs.
And that's what I mean. It's just you don't need
Yeah.
to have like fully interactive, like super. You don't have to have like indoor levels. I mean, there were indoor maps, kind of, or indoor missions anyway. But I mean, the instances
Yeah.
where you have like, I don't know, like an open air cafe or something, and then you kind of like walk in and you're like, I'm not going to pay my bill, and then you shoot the grapple at the nearby, skyscraper, just whack, and then you just take a bunch of people with you as you fly across. If that's possible, game of the year, you know?
You just look down at your bill like, nah. Shoot the grapple across the
Mierda.
street. And it's
I'll buy that.
shit flying everywhere.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just, you look down and then just
Totally
swear
play
in
that.
Spanish, and then you're out. You're just like,
Oh, Christ.
just like a, I don't know, just a really ethnic Spider-Man. I don't know. I would play that game. I already did play that game. I'll play more of that game. I love that game.
Absolutely.
That game.
Yeah, Avalanche just
That game, though.
that. They're also working on that Mad Max though, and apparently that's the team that was working on Just Cause 2. So that's interesting.
I am perfectly okay with that. I am looking very much forward to seeing what they can do.
Yeah. It's gonna be good. I am going to enjoy it. I am honestly, that's the thing too. Is we're gonna have 2 Just Cause style games. Actually, I wonder. Do we know when Mad Max is supposed to?
I was
supposed
just
to
about
hit
to
show?
ask that. Have they even
No.
done that?
Yeah, I mean, if it'd be funny if they end up hitting around the same time, but they'd basically be cannibalizing their own sales. So that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
But within a short span of each other, it's pretty all right, you know, and kind of absurd when you think about it, because you have this one tremendous open world game and this other tremendous open world game where they're full of shit that you want to do, probably. And Rob, I know how you are about collectibles.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, gotta get them shinies.
I'm geared up for Far Cry 4.
Vinny syndrome.
Shinies.
What game were we talking about with collectibles? Early, I think it was like earlier today or yesterday.
Well, Advanced Warfare has all those laptops, but
Fuck. I think it might have been I think it might have been one when we were talking about Just Cause 3, actually, like sometime yesterday, where we mentioned the size of the map, and that immediately that's all I could think was, oh man, give me shit to collect.
Yep.
Pardon
That's
this
what's gonna happen.
child.
Oh, no problem.
Uh-oh.
Babies happen.
It's
Baby.
true, babies do happen.
Yes, they,
Yep.
that's
Yeah.
sometimes they do actually. Just
Yep, it just happens. Oh, man. But, yeah, that's right. It's collectibles. And part of me is glad that collectibles exist, but then part of me is like, but do I really just want to collect something, or do I want it to actually, you know what? That's not even fair, because I played I guess Talos Principle, pretty sure. Not the full game, but the public test. Now, did either of you get to mess with that yet? Okay. This, if you're not aware, it's the puzzle game from Crow Team. It really feels like a serious Sam mod at the point right now, where apparently on the console version, I think it was the console version, might not have been, that Giant Bomb got their hands on. There are just straight up like Gatling guns on the walls from the serious Sam game.
Okay.
But on the public test that I played, no guns or anything, but it's just a first-person puzzle game where you walk around this island and wonder about what happened to all the humans and how you're a robot and the computer is talking to you, but also God is talking to you. So that's a thing.
That
And,
sounds mighty deep.
yeah, it's confusing. It's interesting because it's all built entirely around like the idea of AI questioning whether or not it itself is human, which again was the whole Talos, which is the I think it was Greek. You know, and they have a spiel about it in the game. But basically, there was this robot that was created by man who, for all intents and purposes, was human because he thought, he felt, he acted, and yet he was eventually disassembled. So there was that. But in the game, you're basically like collecting glyphs, which are just Tetris pieces, to open locks, to open up other sections of the island or other puzzle rooms and stuff like that. But then you also have secret stars, and they're just hidden all around this island. And you just find these secret stars, like you have to swim under a bridge, and you have to climb up into this like place where you can't even see it, but there's like this staircase that's kind of hidden, or like
Oh, Jesus Christ, I need to play.
yeah, you need to
Sounds
go
kinda
take a look at it. Like, there's one point where, I won't spoil how I solved it, but you may notice that in one of the puzzles, as you're wandering around the island, there's a hole in the wall that breaks beyond the boundaries of that puzzle. You can't go through it, but something else can. And you need to get something through there to open up something else on another part of the island that's precisely positioned. And you won't know why it's there until you realize that the other puzzle is nearby. And that also gives you a star. And then you get all these stars to unlock a secret map with a secret puzzle that introduces another gameplay mechanic from the game that, you know, is only touched upon in that one, but it's really fucking cool because, again, I don't really want to tell you because you need to play it. It's seriously about 20 minutes, and it's free. So you got Steam, go get it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, check
This
it
is
out.
the- like I guess it's not motivated by like I'm gonna milk everything I can get out of this game. It's just a
It's because you're a
goddamn
magpie.
compulsion I have.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
I need if there's a collectible, and it's not every single game I play. Like it's like GTA 4. I never went out of my way to shoot all the pigeons or whatever the fuck it was.
Right.
Right.
It's only certain games, but I will get absolutely stuck on trying to get every single collectible or 100%ed. And even games that don't have collectibles, like with BioShock games, which, I mean, they do have collectibles, but even so, like, I will investigate every single inch of those goddamn landscapes until I'm convinced I've seen everything I can, and then I'll move on.
Well, that's because it's all content. You know, it's like these are story
Yeah.
beats. These are like pieces of a larger narrative, and they actually add to the experience. They aren't just like floating cheese or something.
But it's infuriating to watch me play a game like
Yeah,
that.
it really
I
is.
take forever. I will
Yeah,
poke around
it really
the dumbest
do.
things. As part of the reason that I don't stream too much, because I know that I'm that type of of gamer, and it's just not an entertaining view.
Let's watch this
But
magpie
it's
collect
how I
sticks and
enjoy a
stones.
game, and it's how
Yeah.
I spent it's how I've spent something like 50 hours in BioShock Infinite, when that game is maybe like
Yeah, it's not a long
maybe-
game.
Yeah, it's
You could get through it in about 12 hours. Rob took
Yeah.
300. All right, so
Yeah.
it's just like, yeah, that's a
and
lot of
that's,
hours.
I mean, and you know, that's it goes back to our thing that we say all the time, like however you want to enjoy a game, enjoy the game that way.
Absolutely.
That's how I roll. You know, that's just
Yeah.
how
I roll by compulsively touching every object that I see.
Yeah, I need to poke it.
One,
I need to poke things.
two,
Let me poke things.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
This is a very efficient
Ah!
way of going about things. Like I need to see all the angles of it. I need to break it. I need
Yeah.
to try to play
You're the guy
about
who
it.
jumps on the table in the middle of a cutscene.
Yeah, exactly. I'd make.
I do that shit too, though. It's
Yeah.
fun.
Oh man,
I'd make a pretty goddamn good tester.
you
I
would. You'd
think
be that
about
QA
Yeah,
guy
you
where it's
really
just like,
would.
Hey,
Yeah.
I've broken the shit out of your game. Pay me.
do you remember how you did it? No.
No.
Well, it's a long story.
Yeah. Well, do you have a minute? Stay a while. But actually, you know what? That just reminded me of the Stanley Parable. Now, okay, did you guys actually get to play that game?
I
Oh
own
yeah,
it.
absolutely.
Yeah, I
Shit,
did.
I was-
Did you get all the 13 endings?
No.
No, I definitely
Well,
did.
now you got to go back, because that's basically how the way you get those endings is by basically breaking every aspect of the game you possibly can, because it accounted for all of them.
I was just gonna say,
And-
does it account for pretty much any way you could possibly?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Pretty much.
That's what I
Like,
loved about that game. Was as somebody who loves fucking around with the game and trying to break it, like it was great finding out that I'm not as clever as they are.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
every
exactly.
single time.
yeah, like the one where it's like you like kind of like glitch jump off of a chair through a window, and then you're just like, oh well, and then the narrator's just like, oh, well, you've sure done it now, and it's just like, oh shit. Oh, look
Or
at
the
us.
broom, the broom closet, I think, was my favorite example, where like they just
Yeah.
knew. They
Yeah.
knew.
Yes, this is certainly worth the visit.
Still in the broom closet, isn't he? Yes, that's. And then next time we go through, it's fucking boarded up.
Yeah, it's
I
closed.
feel
Yeah,
really
it's
bad
over.
that I've never played that. I own it. and
You
I-
should.
You should. Yeah,
It's-
just,
it's
just
a
take
lot
It
of
it-
doesn't
fun.
take long. I mean,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's a very unique experience.
It really is.
One
And
everybody
I mean,
should have.
yeah. And that
And I
narrator,
wouldn't,
I
and I
believe, did a
wouldn't say you
fantastic
even
job.
need to get like all the endings to really have
No,
have
not-
had a complete experience. Like you can go through it like 5 or 6 times, try to fuck around with every single different aspect you can. Just
Yeah,
to see exactly how far they went in understanding how the player's mind can work.
Right. I would definitely recommend trying to go after a couple of those achievements. One in particular is actually hilarious when you go for it. And Rob, did you go after the achievements at all?
A few of them. A few
you
of them.
remember the
They're-
one
They're kind of
where-
a neat little guide to figure out exactly what you should be fucking
Yeah.
around.
Well, you remember the one where it seemed to be really simple and then it turned out to not be simple?
Oh Jesus, it's been a while. I'm trying to remember.
Okay. I'm
It's really
trying to tell you.
vague.
I'm trying to ask you without spoiling it for Jim. you should go back and review the ones that you've unlocked, and then see about the one that requires you to do something a couple times. Because it's not a couple times. It's really not a couple times. I'm going to tell you that right now.
I'll have to
You
check
play the
that
game.
out. Yeah.
What? Yeah.
I could fill
And
2
do.
podcasts talking
Yeah.
about that shit.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Such a game. But
Wow. Such a game.
yeah, it's just the breaking shit is what Rob does, and yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's about right.
yeah, it's about right. And
Personal
Yeah.
goods, but
you know,
body
just
parts.
touching
Games.
things that he shouldn't touch, virtually and otherwise, and then breaking his body, as he
Yeah.
just said.
Everything I touch, shit just falls apart.
It does.
I got a cat. I don't know how he's alive.
Yeah, that book, Things Fall Apart, that was about Rob. It wasn't actually about Rob.
Hey, Will,
Yes.
why don't you carry us home here?
All right. Well,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
guess
we're
it's that time
we're
of night,
hitting
isn't
1.5
it?
hours.
Right now.
Yep. All right. Well, gentlemen, now we all know where our email addresses are, but perhaps we've forgotten. And if somebody out there wants to remind us where our email addresses are, they can email us those places at podcast@thedigitalbench.com.
Now, I'm sorry. I was busy mainlining WoW right into me as directly as possible. Could you
Needles,
repeat
needles.
that one more time?
I was scratching myself.
That's okay. That's all right. You can email any kind of makeup, so that way Jim and Joe can hide their needle scars by emailing a coupon to podcast@thedigitalbench.com. Alternatively, you can follow us on Twitter @thedigitalbench. We swear we'll tweet more. Probably not. Most likely
Don't,
not.
don't promise that.
I promise things because I don't care if I'm lying. You could also look at Tumblr. We're at, I believe Joe just set it up, thedigitalbench.tumblr.com. Yes.
That's
yeah.
right. There's nothing on it yet. I'm still kind of working on that.
We're working on it.
If we can kill the Magma Lord, that would be great.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
And of course, if you want to follow us on Facebook, friend us, don't friend us, we don't know who you are. But you could do it anyway.
Do
at-
it anyway. Do it
yeah,
anyway. No balls.
Facebook.com/thedigitalbench. I believe that's well, no, that's not everything, because if you are not presently watching Joe and Jim obsess about spreadsheets involving pants, I don't know what, you can look at Twitch, twitch.tv/thedigitalbench. Tune in, I'd say, roughly 8 o'clock every Thursday to watch something happen. It
Also,
may or may not be
now
entertaining.
Now that Warlords is out, expect us to be streaming this probably a lot.
Absolutely. You can watch two men slowly abandon everything and everyone they love regularly on twitch.tv.
I probably won't bathe all
Bench.
weekend. That's
Watch things fall
I've
apart.
made my peace with it.
Watch 2 adults fall apart.
Exactly. Right. Watch who the problem is.
Watch a daughter lose
Twitch.
her father.
That's right.
It'll be fun.
Watch therapy in the making at twitch.tv/.
Check out a
thedigitalbench.
21st century tragedy.
Hey Joe, maybe
Oh, they
don't
can leave.
be a shit tank and get these things off of me.
All right.
Are
Well
they on
then,
you?
that said, good night, everybody.
Bye.
Boy.